What's up? I'm John and I'm going to share this live video. Okay, just bear with me while I put this on the social medias. And let me make sure the audio is working too. Okay, just bear. Yep. And Facebook. No. Send a message button to your post. Not now. And I'm going to put this on my personal Facebook as well. All right, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to bring this down a little bit and we'll talk about some cool stuff that's happening. So if you can see the title of this video, it's about M2 polarity switches. So let me try to give you a little rundown. So in a previous video of mine, I mentioned that the production manager of M2 reached out to me after he saw one of my videos, and he wanted to let me know that there was a change in the size of one of the elements in the last 6 months to change the resonant frequency, to increase it, and to make sure that I had either the right length or if not to adjust it. So that was really nice. His name is Lee Berger. He also told me if I needed anything just to call him. He gave me his cell phone number. Super awesome. And in my last video, at the end of the video, I don't normally do this, but I mentioned my sponsors. And I think maybe he saw that and was like, oh, well, maybe we could sponsor John. So he reached out and said, are there any things you need? Actually what he said was, do you have any 23 centimeter stuff, or have you ever done any 23 centimeter satellite stuff? And I said, well, actually, I bought a Waymo helical 23 centimeter antenna. That's 1.2 gigahertz L-band. And I played with it once, and I planned on using it for my satellite station. And he said, well, I was going to sponsor you and give you one of our antennas for that. And he said, well, is there anything else that you might need? I said, well, I've got the Leo pack. I don't think there's anything y'all could give me. And he asked me, what about polarity switches? And I was like, well, that's an interesting idea. And he told me to take a look at these right here. So this is the PS2 2MS. And you can see here is a picture of it. And he also told me to look at this one. This is the PS 70 centimeter. So that's 70 centimeters. And this is 2 meters. And I was aware of these, and I didn't really think about getting them because they would make the setup more complicated. And I also wanted, since this was my first satellite ground station, I wanted to make sure it worked. The advantage of having a polarity switch is that, as you may know, when the signals come through the ionosphere, they change in polarity. And I want to check this chat because I know you are on here. So let me go back. So does it come up over here? Can't remember. You are on here. So let me go back. Okay, what's up, Manuel? We got Jacob here, a few other folks, Drift Lizard. Thanks for tuning in. So yeah, the signals change when they come through the ionosphere. And when they change, if your antenna is set up for, say, vertical polarization, and the signal comes initially through vertical polarization, all is well. You get the signal well. If it changes from vertical to horizontal and your antenna is vertical, you get a 30 dB drop, which is a huge amount of attenuation. Now, if you have a circularly polarized antenna and it changes from horizontal to vertical, it doesn't make a difference because it receives in all planes. There is a drop from linear to circularly polarized of 3 dB, which is about a half of the signal drop, but you don't get fades. There's actually a pretty cool explanation I found about that here. So basically, you have all planes. I'm not going to get into details, but let's see. Yeah, so the So with 23 centimeter, oh man, I'm sorry y'all, I didn't prepare very well for this. Right before this happened, I went to lunch earlier today, and I was gonna go to lunch real quick. I was listening to the local repeater on my HT, and this French station came on. And I was like, okay, a French station in the United States, that's interesting. And I came back to him, and it turned out um, he was also looking for lunch, and he was in my area of the town. And like I said, I told him like, well, how long are you gonna be here? I'm busy this afternoon. He was talking about maybe we could have lunch, but he was gonna leave tomorrow. I was like, well, he's not. He's only been here for the weekend. He's leaving soon. I might as well meet up with him. And so I did. I had lunch with him, and interestingly, it turned out he is a QO1 operator, which is amazing because there's not a lot of satellite operators, much less people that have set up, S-Hail Sat2. So he told me all about his setup and taught me about microwave. It was really interesting, but it took away some of the time I had to prepare for this video, and I got to go somewhere after this, so I'm a little bit unprepared, less prepared than I wanted to be, and a little bit flustered because of that. So bear with me. So here's what I know about polarity. I was talking to Clayton Coleman, W5PFG, about this a while back, and I was asking him about circularly polarized antennas, and he said for him, he prefers to have this ability to switch between the two linear planes, vertical and horizontal. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, that's interesting. But with circularly polarized antennas, if you just have it one way, like left-hand, so the signal it goes like this. They actually go in a twist. So there's a 3 dB drop, but it's a consistent 3 dB drop between vertical and horizontal. So you don't get fades as the satellite spins or as the signals come through the ionosphere. However, this is something I'm not sure about, but I'm still going to get fades. I'll probably get big fades, and that's because there is a sense, and that means you can have left hand, it can go like right hand rather, or left hand. And I think maybe the signals can change from vertical to horizontal, and also as they come through the ionosphere, and also from left hand circularly polarized to right hand circularly polarized. So if that happens, then you get that 30 dB loss. So here's a vertical, horizontal, and left hand circular and right hand circular. So in that case, it would help to have these switches. And I didn't mention it, but the M2 Leo pack that I have is circularly polarized. So the way these work is you basically give it 12 volts and it switches from one polarity to the other, from either left hand to right hand or right hand to left hand. So if I get a really big fade, I can switch it and hopefully the signal will come up. And my plan is to test this, make a video of it, and demonstrate it. So for M2, these switches actually didn't used to work for the Leo pack. It's fairly new that they now support the Leo pack. They used to only work for their longer antennas. So Lee told me they're trying to get the word out. So that's partly why this sponsorship is really beneficial both ways. So I'm gonna set these up. It's gonna make setting up the antenna a little more complicated. I'll have to run 12 volts up for each antenna to turn them on and off. I'll have to build a little box with switches to turn them on and off. But I think it's gonna be worth it, and I'm actually really excited about it. So that's the gist of it. Let me see if I had anything else I wanted to mention. Yeah, so let's just leave this here for now, and maybe I'll make another video that I can prepare a little bit more for. I wanted to go ahead and get this out because I'm going to be out of town next weekend, and I told Lee that I would make a video about this potentially even last weekend. So another thing is the M2's polarity switches are not here yet. They're being shipped to me. So they'll be here, I think, on the 14th. So I'm really excited about seeing them. I actually have the Leo pack on my floor over here. I'll see if I can show it to you. Lee wanted me to check my Leo pack to see if there were any missing parts. That way, if there were, he could send them to me with the switches. So that's the Leo pack right there, and you can see the different furthest away. Those tubes are for the crossboom, and then I won't be using those because I have a big fiberglass one that they also sell, and then those ones closer to me from the bigger ones over there furthest away are for either the 2 meter or 70 centimeter antenna, and then the ones closest to me are for the 70 centimeter antenna, I believe. And all those black cables are little patch cables that make up the balun and the phasing of the antenna. And then there's also a lot of hardware right there. So that's the M2 antenna. You guys have any questions in the chat? I'll just check it and see what y'all said. It looks like y'all are just chatting amongst yourselves. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Sorry for the kind of haphazard live stream, but I wanted to get this out there. And I want to really thank Lee Berger for hooking me up with this sponsorship. So if you don't know M2, check out M2. They've got a lot of great gear. I'll be using their Leo pack. We're also sponsored by Nordic PC. If you need a custom built PC for any purpose, gaming, word processing, whatever, check out Nordic PC. We're sponsored by Arrow Antenna, and finally by Dog Park Software. Dog Park Software makes Mac Logger and Mac Doppler. So Mac Logger DX and Mac Doppler. And I use Mac Doppler to generate the past simulations in some of my videos. 73, I'm John Breyer, KG4AKB. Bye.